Here's the thing, y'all. Most people came to see the zombies. And then a very few minute of us came to see the ginormous shower of a dick. Let me explain. Welcome back, and once again, thank you for trusting me with your full spoiler movie reviews. That thing I do where I watch movies and then I tell you all about them. As always, I am unpaid and unsponsored, and spoilers. Spoilers, all the spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, you can go and scroll. I won't be offended. Spoilers. Okay, here we go. The much anticipated 28 Years Later is starring Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. Ralph Fiennes for a total of 20 minutes. He's called Ralph Fiennes because he's Ralph fine as hell. Cillian Murphy's in there for about 30 seconds, and that's all I can recognize. Now, here's the thing. I haven't seen 28 Weeks Later in a really long ass time, years. And I don't even know if I've ever seen 28 Days Later. I'm not a zombie person. But I do know enough to know that there's this virus called, I think, the Rage, and it makes people go all zombie-fied, and everybody's in the UK, and that's what I got. So here's where we are. But anyways, what's this about? Well, back when everything was starting, a bunch of people got together in one house and put the kids in the living room to watch the Teletubbies. They closed the door, and some scary shit was going on. Well, they can hear all the zombie stuff going on through the closed door. Then the zombies break in, and they do what they do to the children, except one who starts running around. He gets out of the house, he runs to the church, who his dad is the pastor or father or whatever. Which, if you've seen from the commercial, the priest is all like, "Yay, Judgment Day!" and leaves himself to be attacked by the zombies. Which begs the question, what exactly are the zombies doing? Because they're not eating the people. I mean, they're biting them just enough to turn them into a virus zombie, but they're not actually eating the people. There is one that's killing them, but we'll come to that later. I just don't understand what the zombies are getting out of biting and turning other people into zombies. I thought maybe they had some sort of craving for human flesh, but if they did, they would actually be eating people. Anyway, he hides in a little spot in the church, and then it's 28 years later. I think the little kid grew up to be the dad in this movie. I think. I want to say yes. I'm going with yes. Well, now they live on this tiny island that's off of the UK mainland. You know, they got everything they need. They're low on supplies, but they're making do. They go to school and whatnots. But there's one little walkable causeway that you can only go back and forth on low tide. And it's one way on and it's one way off. And if you get lost, nobody is sending fucking search parties. You were just dead. And you don't want to try to go over it at high tide because apparently the current is strong and it will lead you out to sea. But I have even more questions. There is a little established village that lives on this island to the mainland of the UK. Something that has been well established before fucking the zombies. How the hell does this island not have boats? Why couldn't they just use a fucking rowboat and then they don't have to worry about just waiting until low tide? Ain't even gotta be a motorboat if you're worried about it calling the zombies. Just a little rowboat. A sailboat. But whatever, wake up, today's the day. A little boy named Spike, who just turned 12, is going out onto the mainland with his daddy. Even though the rest of the fucking village waits until they're 15 to go out. But daddy, for some odd reason, needs to take his boy out at 12. I guess to prove a fucking point. Well, he has a mom, and his mom is very sick. She has kind of psychosis spells. And she's all freaking out, but they just told her he went to school after that. So here they are, they're going on to the mainland. They see a couple of zombies that are fat, and they're kind of digging around on the ground for worms. It looks like Danny DeVito when he oils himself up naked and hides in the couch and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and there's 3 of those. Then they find a house where they're going to look for some supplies, and then they find a guy that's been hung upside down by his feet. He's got Jimmy written over his body, and they think he's dead, but then he starts doing zombie shit, so they shoot him too. But then they go outside and they're walking around, and then boom, an alpha zombie, which I guess is a main zombie. Then he's bringing a horde of zombies who's all naked. All naked. Do you know what the involvement of zombies over the course of 28 years are? Well, at this point, everybody is completely buck-ass naked. And nobody has, cut their hair. Obviously not, because they're zombies. I don't think they worry about that kind of thing. So, there's full bush and full hair. Everybody looks like the fucking Geico cavemen. Picture, I think it's like 10,000 BC, but everybody's a zombie. Naked zombie caveman coming to you. Not to eat you, but to like bite you. And they're like, oh shit. So, they're fighting a little bit, and then they run back into the house, and they're going to hide in the attic. And they can't technically go anywhere just yet, because now it's high tide. While they're hiding out, Spike sees a fire, and he's like, Dad, what's that? And his dad's like, I don't know. But then low tide comes, and they start trying to make it back. And the fucking alpha shows back up, and they're shooting it, and it just keeps fucking going. It's got the biggest dong I've ever seen. That zombie should be very impressed by his weenie. Anyway, it's been shot like 8 times. It's not doing any fucking thing. They finally get to the gate. The gate impales him with it looks like a fucking log, and it falls over. They get back inside. They have a big party for Spike. Dad's seriously drunk and going to town on the bearded clam of a village girl. Spike sees it, gets all upset, goes back to the house, snuggles his mom. But right before that, he goes to see one of the town elders who says that his mom is sick, but they don't have a doctor to cure her. Because there used to be a doctor, but then he went to the mainland and went kind of crazy. They caught him burning bodies in weird rows. So now they don't have a doctor anymore. And then Spike's like, I saw the fire of that doctor. I'm going to take my mom all the way to the mainland, and the doctor can fix her. So that's what we're going to do. He sets a building on fire. Everybody's watching that so he can get through the gates with his mom. His mom's going in and out of psychosis. Spike is fighting zombies. Meanwhile, this group of soldiers comes out of nowhere and drops into, it looks like a subway tunnel, and then there's more zombies. One zombie literally shoves his hand inside the mouth of one of the soldiers and rips the top half of his head off with part of his fucking spine, which I was like, damn. But one gets away, and his name is Eric. Then they meet Eric in the woods, which Eric confirms that there's no more fucking rage anywhere else in the world except the UK, which is why the UK is quarantined and nobody's allowed to step off the island once you step on, which means Eric is now stuck on the island for fucking ever. Which begs more questions for me. Number one, if it was that big of a deal that nobody can ever leave the UK and it's only in the UK, why are they not doing a mass extinction event for them? Which sounds really bad, but that's what they're doing anyway. They cut off all communications with the UK. They don't have phones or radios or electricity. Or better yet, why have they not tried to communicate with them? Why are they not doing airdrops of supplies just in random spots? Worst case scenario is the stuff doesn't get used when it's dropped, but eventually somebody would find it. I mean, the UK is not really that big. There's a fuckload of things we could have been done to stay in contact with the UK. They just didn't do it. But anyway, then we hear some screaming coming from a train. Mom comes out of psychosis long enough to get onto the train, sees that one of the zombies is in the middle of giving birth. Mom connects with the zombie long enough to help her give birth, and then she tried to attack her, and then Eric shot her. But the baby is not a zombie. He wanted to kill the baby, and then they get separated kind of, and then all of a sudden the alpha pulls Eric through and then also rips his head off with his spine, which is a really cool party trick, but after the third time it's eh. And then Ralph Fiennes shows up to save them. He drugs the alpha zombie, but doesn't actually kill him. He said he's been around for 3 fucking years. Which, if he's that big of a deal, he's ripping off heads and spines and shit, why have we not dismantled the zombie? He seems like a problem. Anyway, Ralph Fiennes brings him back to the Bone Temple, which is all those big towers of skulls and bones and stuff, and that's his way of preserving the dead. It's his way of remembering the dead, because he has his own crematorium going, presumably I guess so that people don't turn into more zombies. But he did an exam on the mom, comes to find out the mom has cancer that has metastasized to her brain. He gave her a mercy kill, sent Spike back to the village with the not baby zombie, whose name is now Isla after the mom. Spike decides he's gonna go run around the mainland now. Then he runs into a guy with a velour tracksuit and other people in velour tracksuits who do flips and shit like Power Rangers. The end. Not one bit of that was a lie. And you're probably thinking, that's a weird ending. Listen, I've never been to the UK, but I have watched a lot of fucking British TV, and that doesn't seem too off base. Brighton would be a world of difference compared to Essex. Now, did I like it? And the doctor knows iodine keeps them away. Why the hell did he not bring back this information? Crazy or not. Really cool to look at, though. 7 out of 10. Okay, bye.